Hello everyone. In this video, we will see what is static and non-static in Java. So in my last lecture, I had explained you what is class and objects in Java. So if you are not familiar with what is class and object, then you can see my previous videos where I have explained what is class and object. But here, in simple way, I will explain what is class and object. Class is like a blueprint. For example, if I have a class name student, so here a student name, what is his grade, what is his score, what is his school name. This is the blueprint. Okay. So if I have to create the object for the student, then when I create the object here, this is the student number one. He has a name equal to ABC, and the grade is in seventh standard, and his score is 98.9, and his school is Kendriya Vidyalaya. Okay, so this is the student number one. And if I have to create another object of this class, then I can create a one more object here. If you see, here also again I have to define the name is equal to XYZ, and the same grade is, he may be in 8th standard, and the score is 89.88 percentage, and the school is again Kendriya Vidyalaya. So if you see here, we have two students. These are the real entities of this class, right? So this class has some parameters, and we are using those in our object, and we are creating real entities. So here is my student class, and I have one entity, and I have another real entity. And if I want to create one more real entity, then I can create from it. So here is a third student. His name is something like Rama, and the grade is 6th standard, and score is, can say, 92, and his school name is also Kendriya Vishwavidyalaya. So if you see here, here the names is different of each student, and the grade is different, and the score of each student is different. But if you recognize here, the school name is same for all the students. So for example, if you say the data types here, the name is a string, and it may consuming the 8 bytes, and here grade is the integer, 7 is the integer, and it is consuming 4 bytes, and the score is a double data type, and it is consuming 8, and school name is also a string, and again it is consuming 8 bytes. And if you see here everywhere, 8 4 8 8, and here also 8 4 8 8. So if the school name is same for all the students, then why should I add school name in each object? Because if you see here, every time it is consuming 8 bytes of memory in my system. So can I do one thing? Instead of adding this school name in each object, can I keep this school name in my class memory? If I keep this school name in my class memory as Kendriya Vidyalaya, then I don't have to define these school names here. I don't have to define this here, right? So it means I am saving 8 bytes of memory in each object. And here, if you see, total, I can save here around 24 bytes of memory in my system, right? So I can directly take this school name from my class memory, and I can use it in my coding, right? So let's see this in a programmatical way. So here you can see we have a Eclipse, and I have created the Java project here. So if you don't know how to download the Eclipse and create the Java project and create the class and objects, then you can see my previous video where I have explained it. So let's first create a package named student. So in this package, I will create the class named student. Student is my name of my class, and I will add the main class here. Delete this. So before going that here, if you can, we call this as a static memory because the static memory always belongs to the class. So this school is a static. If I am defining school in the object memory, then it is called as non-static. Here you see this name, this grade, this score. These all are non-static because these all belongs to object memory. So here I define this school as a static, so it belongs to the class memory. So in this Eclipse, if you see, I have created a class named student. So here first, I will create name variable. And in my previous video, I have explained what are the variables, what is variable, what is the data type of the variable. You can see if you don't know. And int is grade, then score, and this is the school name. Okay. So if you see here, string, int, double, and the string, these are the data type of these variables. So what is double? Double means if you want to store some data types, for example, 98.96, 78.69. So where you are adding the point and after that you are adding some decimals, then we will use double there. So let's create an object. Let's create a student object, student A. What is the name of the student? Drama. What is his grade? He's in seventh standard. And what is his score? 98.96. So I added here 98.96. Let's see if I make this double as int, then here I see a error. Here it is saying type mismatch cannot convert from double to int. So I am trying to store a data type double in int variable. So let's make it double back. A dot school name in real. So if I want to print this, SYSO control space enter. A dot name of the student, adding A dot grade of the student, adding A dot score of that student, adding A dot school name. And let's run it. So if you see here, Rama and his grade, score, everything got printed. But let's add a little bit space in between these. So plus, okay. Rama, he's in seventh grade, his score, and his school name. So let's create another object, student. So here I created another object, and this student name is Lakshman. He's in 8th standard. So when I print this, and I can see both student names and their grade, score, and their school name. So here, before I'm going to explain you what is static and non-static and how to define a static variable and non-static variable in Java, I would like to show you the memory consumption of these objects. So if I have to check the memory consumption of this object, then first let me show you how to print it. So I will go to Maven repository and I will download a jar class there. So here is the Maven repository link. I will add it in my description. You can download it. So here we have to download this 0.17.jar file. So once you click on this, then it will download it here and it will be in your download folder. So you go to your Eclipse and right click and go to the properties. Once you go to properties, then first let me remove this from here and click on your Java build path, then click on libraries, then click on class path and add external jars. I added the external jar here. Apply. Once you apply, then apply and close it. So my jar file got added here. Then I have to, if you see here, here you see the jar file is added. Now import it in your class. Open jdk.jol. SYSO. I want to print it here. Then and my instance is A. Just for time being I am commenting this one. So let's run this. Yes, so here you can see for this object Rama, if you see here, these are the headers. What are the headers here in the object? So normally when I create the object, so on the object, consider it as a box and there will be a label on that box and that label will say what is there inside the box. In the same manner, when I create the object, so these are kind of the labels on my object. It tells the JVM that what all there in the object. But don't worry about this. Just look at here. So here is the grade and it is consuming 4 bytes. Here is the score consuming 8 and here is the name consuming 4 bytes here and here is the school name here. If you see here the school name and it is consuming 4 bytes here, right? So it should be around. So now as it is non-static, then here it is not completely showing me the entire memory consumption of the. So here if you see, so it is showing me 32 bytes, but this is the round figure. The JVM is trying to compress my object. But if I have to see the exact memory consumption of this object, go to the run as, then click on run configurations, then click on arguments and add the argument here. I have added the argument, but you can't see it, but I will add it in my description. So there you can get that argument. If you want to check the memory consumption of the object, then run this. Now you see this is 40 bytes. You can see here, right? So this is the 40 bytes because my school name of the student, score and grade, and including all of these, the total memory consumption of my object is 40 bytes. Let's do one thing. Currently, my school name is non-static, right? So let's make it static. Just add a static keyword before the variable. Now it is a static variable. So once it is a static variable, then you see here there is a yellow mark below. Once I hover on this, it says a static field student.school name should be accessed in a static way because here I am accessing it in an object a dot school name, but it should not be the way. If it belongs to the class, then I should not add any object reference before this. and delete this. Here also same, delete this. And I will add school name here. Indriya Vidyalaya. Now I added it here. So when it was a non-static, it what belongs to the object memory. That's why each object used to consume a extra 8 bytes. But once I make it as a static, then it belongs to class. So I don't have to specify that memory in each object. So once I run this, you can see my memory consumption will be deducted. Yeah, you can see it here, right? So this is 32 bytes. Here you don't see. Here only you see name, score, and grade, but you don't see school name here because it is no more being added in the object memory. So now I can use that static variable as many times as I want. Now run this again. So you can see here both objects are being printed. Let me comment this out. You see here the school name is also being printed, but that is not belongs to object memory, that belongs to class memory. So now I hope you guys understood like what is the difference between static and non-static. So when you define a variable as a non-static, then you need to define it in each object. So it will consume a memory in each object. But when you define it as a static, then it belongs to the class. Then you don't have to define that in each object. So whatever the variables are common among all the objects, then make it as a static so that you can save a lot of memory in your system. Thank you very much.